Hello, everybody out there in the internet. Welcome to the Aimless Mirror Match, new and improved, with Ticketmaster joined by
Practical.
So, I will get in touch with RPG to ask him, when's the new laptop coming, dude? And then we can totally have a timeline, which we probably won't, because, this is Aimless, and our timelines and schedules just, go into volcanoes and into ditches, because there's only two places that you can run them in the ground and into a ditch, because they're so stable, yes.
And now you know that Aimless Island has volcanoes, ditches, and ground, apparently.
This week we'll be talking about what we've been playing and some Gran Turismo 6 and how it will be another wrench into the launch of next gen. If you're somebody that's on the fence, and you're like, oh, well, I can just wait, because, it's not like there's no games coming out for the current generation that are not awesome, just saying. But I've been playing. I finished Lego Star Wars 3, and it was, like I said last time, it's just a bunch of collectibles, so I didn't feel like going back and getting all the bolts and stuff. So I was like, I finished the campaign, so, there's a lot of replay value there if you want to do that. I was like, I think I'll move on to something else. And then I started playing Final Fantasy Tactics A2, because I was like, well, I guess I'll play another strategy RPG game, but I haven't played this in years. And I remember kind of not liking it, and then... but still playing through it, and then I was like, let me see what was so bad, and then it did not take long, because the whole learning skill system is craft system, and that other thing that you have to go do to get new items, I forgot, but it's, your abilities are tied to your equipment, so it's like, if you don't have the equipment, you can't learn new abilities, so it's like, oh, well, so that was basically binged after a couple of days, but I couldn't think of what to play, so I just kept it with me and was loading my old save where I'd finished everything and I had high-level characters, and I was like, oh, okay, at least it's fun once you have everything unlocked, so, yeah. But, besides that, I went back and played Deus Ex Human Revolution on the hardest difficulty because I'm trying to get the achievement for that and the no alerts, so that's really fun because it's super stealthy and super fun still, and it still holds up, so I was like, yes, it's still awesome, so that's been fun. I've been playing it on PC and 360 because I'm trying to I'm doing those at the same time. Then I'll be recording my PS3 playthrough for my YouTube and haha, I have it all down of what to do and what time and how to get everything. So that's what I'm doing there, and it's still fun, and sneaking up on dudes and punching them or choking them or whatever, and being all stealthy and hackery never gets old. It's still fun. I played some Gran Turismo 5 as well today because the Gran Turismo 6 announcement got me excited, and I was like, ooh, let me go play some. And yeah, still fun. So, cannot wait for the new one, even though I might be broke when it comes out, so we'll see. And, I think that's all I've been playing. Oh, I've been watching my friend play Final Fantasy 12, but I haven't been playing it, but watching it, I'm like, we'll see if I ever play, because just watching him play it, I'm like, that doesn't really look that fun, so, And I can see, how they got to 13 from 12, looking at how it plays. Just, you control one person, and it's very autopilot and auto-battle-y of you just going up to something, and the game takes care of everything for you with the gambits, so, But, that's all I've been playing.
Pretty much. So you're, rehearsing for Deus Ex.
Yeah.
Essentially. Cool.
So, making sure I know where everything you think he is at, so when I play through it again, I'll be like, alright, it'll be fresh in my mind.
Nice. That is also a game I need to finish.
Oh, Practical. Oh, gosh.
I'm bad at finishing games. Although, this week I did finish The Lost and the Damned, which was much shorter than I thought it would be. Although I didn't play most of the side stuff. Like the gang wars. Actually, I was playing a bunch of those. Those are really fun. The sawn-off shotgun is incredible. I was trying to use, because for me, it's hard to aim when you're riding the motorcycle. So I was using sort of spray and pray weapons. But then later I was like, I'm out of bullets, and I'm on this mission, so I just got to go with what I have. So I have the sawn-off shotgun, and I forget what I was supposed to do, but it came down to me having to stop a car, and I pulled up within point blank range and fired twice. And the car exploded. I was like, wow! So after that, it was all sawn-off shotgun. Every time I was on the bike, I just need to get close enough. It was that mission where you have to drop pipe bombs to blow up trucks. I failed that one so many times that, you know what, screw this. I just took the shotgun, drove up to it, boom, boom. I think it took a little more than 2 shots, but it was still very fast, and yeah, that was way easier than using the pipe bombs, which you have to time, and you have to be in front of them, and if they turn away, then it's, just wasted another pipe bomb. Otherwise, yeah, the story was not as, I mean, I guess that I'm not one of those people who was saying Grand Theft Auto 4's script was better than most movies, but the storyline for Lost in the Dam was it ended very abruptly, and it felt very strange. Like, the logic, or in the end, so it's something like, and we don't care about spoilers anymore, it's so old. Well, okay, the names will be removed, so you don't know who I'm talking about, but a guy is gonna rat on you in jail. And so you don't want to go to jail. So what is the plan? You break into the jail that the guy is being held in, kill all of the guards, and kill the guy. And it's like, how does this make any sense? You're covering up a crime that isn't really yours by committing a huge, huge crime, which will definitely be on camera.
I really like that finale because you get to like arm up before and you're just like guns loaded.
Yeah,
going
that
in.
part was really fun. It's like, oh, they're free? It's like, yep. And I have to comp them. I was like, oh my gosh. I was just thinking because I had a lot of money earlier, and then for some reason I bought a bunch of rockets, and I didn't realize that they were $3,000 per rocket, and I was down to like 200. It's like, oh no! Now I have just rockets, and I'm not sure what to do with them. I just thought, it might be handy to have in case. And then when they were free, I was like, well, I'll just load up again. But, man, I basically wasted all my money. Because, yeah, you get to keep all those weapons after the mission, too.
Did you use the grenade launcher?
A little bit.
I enjoyed that one more than I like that more than the RPG that was in, like, the main game. It's like, oh, it's like you get, like, an arc, and it seemed more... I don't know, just for precision, because the RPG is just like, it can go anywhere sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
I killed myself once because the reticule showed that it was over the car I was standing behind, and I fired, and it hit the car for some reason. It's like,
yeah.
Come on, he's taller than that, and obviously I died. Yeah, no, actually, in the end, I was using, because I didn't want to replace the rockets I had bought, so I used the pipe bombs, which it was just like throwing them like grenades. And I had so many from that other mission because I used my shotgun instead. And yeah, it made clearing out the guards really easy.
Yeah, I just remember like unloading with the grenade launcher. It's just like boop, 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 boop. And there's just like explosions everywhere. I was like, oh, this is so awesome.
But yeah, the plot there seemed very illogical to me. And it was so abrupt. You went from another guy betraying you, and then finding out that's like, oh, he wasn't, it was the other guy in jail who's the mastermind. It's like, what? We haven't heard anything about him for many missions now, and suddenly it was all him. It felt very strange.
Yeah, I agree. The story in the Fallen, whatever, what's it called?
Lost in the Dam.
Lost in the Dam was very
The Fallen and the Confused.
But it was fun. I enjoyed that. The motorcycle stuff with all like the chase scenes and stuff. That was great.
Wow. It's amazing how much easier the motorcycles were to ride. Not falling off every time you touch the curb or something. It's good. So I started Ballad of Gay Tony, but I've only played the first mission. So we will see how that goes. I like how how you're finally living in an apartment that's not all crappy. Like there's that Lost in the Dam. There's that one where you end up with this other safe house, and they're saying something like, "Oh, it's better than the hideout because there's a bed." And it's like, "Oh, okay." And I went in there to save at the very end after I beat it, and I was like, "What? That's not a bed. This is also a mattress on the floor. How is this different?" But still, yep. So I am now one expansion closer to completing my goal of beating all these open world urban games before Grand Theft Auto 5 comes out.
Doesn't Saints Row 4 come out before it though?
Ah, that's right. But see, I have a feeling Saints Row 4 may get a next-gen version. Not positive, but it looks like it. And they haven't announced a PC version, though they'll probably make one of those, too. And if you have a PC version, probably it'll be easy to make a PS4 version.
That is true.
Maybe. So, yeah, so far, I think it feels like Grand Theft Auto sort of pushes the hardware a bit more in the way that it's sort of built to the metal. And so I feel like maybe Grand Theft Auto 5 won't get a next-gen version. Maybe they'll just go on and, make a new one. But Saints Row, maybe. I mean, was there even... I think there was... Oh, no, wait, there were PC versions of all those. Which one doesn't have a PC version? Is it Red Dead? Or did Red Dead...
Yeah, it's Red Dead. It's Red Dead. Red Dead doesn't have PC version.
Okay. So, yeah.
I would have bought it. Again.
Stuff like that happens, and then... So, yeah, it feels like maybe they wouldn't, but I think maybe the Saints Row people would. So, I will probably wait on that one. And I think Red Dead is going to take a while, so August is a no-go. Oh, and Dragon's Crown comes out then. Anyway.
So many games! When will the hurting stop?
But, speaking of hurting, Star Trek is such a slog. There are parts that... It's very frustrating. It's like, you watch all the making videos of, say, God of War and stuff like that, and they just do tons and tons of playtesting and, having people come in and play and sort of balance out. There's never sort of these parts where people get stuck and are just stuck there for hours and hours, and then they quit the game, and then, those are the places where I would have quit and then come back 2 years later and have to start all over because I don't remember what was going on. Star Trek has a lot of uneven parts, which are, I don't know if they're difficult, but they're really frustrating. So one of the things that they ask you to do a lot, or not a lot, but they ask you to platform. So occasionally you have to jump across chasms, and it's just so bad. Like when you play Uncharted and you jump towards a wall, Drake plays like a different animation. So, his usual jump will look one way, but then his jump towards a wall, he will, reach out his hands and get ready to, grab onto whatever you're jumping towards. So, midway through the jump, you already know if you're going to make it or not. With Star Trek, they don't have anything like that, so sometimes it feels like it's random. Sometimes the character will grab on to clearly, grab onable ledges and stuff. And other times they won't. And so there's sort of like this stressful moment where you have to wait for the entire arc through the air until they hit the wall. And then when they hit the wall, you have to pray that they grab on. Otherwise, you have to go back. And it's just idiotic things. Like the checkpoint will have been, can't describe it. It'll just be like you have to do over a lot of the stuff that you just did, usually in sections where it's impossible for you to die. So it's like, why do I even have to do this part again? Like, why can't you put the checkpoint at the point where it's possible that a player would die?
It's like, all right, we missed the platform. Up the stairs. Yeah. And the other set of stairs, and the next set of stairs again.
So this one, there's added frustration with this one because it also doesn't save anything you've done in the interim. Some games will say for trophy purposes or whatever, you have to kill a certain number of enemies with a certain weapon. And even if you die, it sort of keeps all of that progress that you made. So, if you keep dying in the same place in Uncharted, you can eventually get, 10 stealth kills on the exact same guy because you kept dying right after or something like that. In this one, it doesn't have that. So if, say, you scanned an item for information on it, you have to scan that item every single time after you die.
Ooh.
I'm like, this is so annoying. And yeah, because the platforming is so bad, that's what makes it really frustrating, because this one was worse because I actually had to do a lot of platforming in the middle. And then I got to the end, and it was this platform. All right, so I was standing on this ledge, and I could see clearly, okay, that ledge over there is something that, my character can hang on to. So obviously I'm supposed to jump over there, right? Run over, jump. I can't jump that far. It's like, what? And so I died, and then I have to do this entire sort of combat platforming section again, get there, and it's like, I don't know. Should I jump? If I jump, I could make it and then not have to slog through that section again. Or I could just fall, at the whims of the gameplay systems and then have to do it all over again. It's like, yeah, it's terrible. But I will get through it. The latest thing that I've seen that really annoyed me, there was a stealth section, and it said, it's sort of optional. All the stealth sections are optional, but it says, get through this area and, deactivate these shields without getting spotted. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I was being really cautious, and I was scanning, around, making sure the enemies weren't there, and at one point I thought I deactivated an automated turret. Like, all right, cool, it's deactivated. And I went through and was like, okay, everything's done. All I need to do is one more thing. Suddenly it says, oh, you failed your stealth optional objective. Like, what? Why? Turns out I didn't turn off the turret like I thought I did. I had actually... And you don't get a choice. Like, it actually, instead of turning off turrets, your characters just decide to turn them to your side. And that turret had decided at that point to shoot someone randomly. It's like, come on. I didn't get spotted. For all they know, the turret just malfunctioned. But no. It's kind of miserable.
Yeah, I had something like that happen to me with Resident. Well, it wasn't a bad thing, but like the whole when the game is counting the achievements and you're going over and over again, like on Resident Evil 6 on that last Leon chapter or whatever, like it took me so long when I was playing for like the 3 hours or however, like without passing it, that I had like gotten the kill 100 zombies achievement. So I have like no idea like how like long a regular playthrough would like take you to get that achievement like in one boss fight. Just like playing it over and over and like kept dying and not knowing to stab it with the lightning rod. I got it and I was like, oh, at least I got something for my troubles, even though it wasn't just an achievement. So.
Yes. See, imagine that progress just being obliterated because you died. Like, oh,
yeah, that would
so
just make me
so frustrating. I think there's only 2 levels left, but the levels are really long. I mean, I don't know what the definition for padded is, but because like I don't know if it's padded. I just think it's because it's not very enjoyable, and then it's really long. It's ridiculous. Finally, I've been playing Soul Sacrifice, which is actually really cool. I can understand the criticism about it being sort of grindy, and you just have these small little, not small, but, yeah, they're small. Sort of these sections of essentially an arena where you have to kill a certain number of monsters, and that's your gameplay. But the fiction that they've created around everything in the game is really neat. They've taken things like goblins and orcs and given them sort of new, everything. Like, they look different than what you expect. They have totally different backstories. Like, goblins are supposed to be rats, or they used to be plague rats. And the sorcerers decided, okay, we're going to eradicate the plague, so we're going to use these magic rat traps. And when the rats eat the poison, they'll actually, like a roach hotel. Is that what they're called? Anyway, yeah, they eat the poison, and they go back, and they infect their entire nest. Do rats have nests?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Rat nest? That sounds right. But yeah, and then that kills all the rats, and it worked, except for some of the rats did not die, and they got infected by the magic and became sort of these mutated, I guess, big rats is the way to describe them. Except it's not one rat that turned really big; it's a bunch of rats that get together in the shape of a big rat, and then that's what goblins are in Soul Sacrifice. And I was like, oh wow, that's neat. And yeah, just the stories are of the locations, and they don't factor into gameplay at all that I can see. But just the backstories on everything are really interesting. Even the premise of the game is really interesting. So, as far as I can tell, you play as you, and so when you're you see in first person. The only problem is you're in a cage, and you're going to be sacrificed to this guy, Magasar, who is some powerful sorcerer who has been going around sacrificing people. And, yeah, so basically you're going to die. But then you find this book, and the book talks. It has like a mouth and eyes and stuff on it. And, it tells you, oh, if you read me, you'll be able to find Magasar's secrets, and then you'll be able to get out of here. And it's like, oh, well, that's a good deal. So you open the book, and then it's about like another sorcerer who knew Magasar back in the day, and you get to sort of relive the guy's memories. And those are the third-person gameplay parts. So those parts, you play as who is it? I don't know. You get to customize the character in the journal, in the book. But you don't know who he is. You don't know what his name was. I think it can be a she. And yeah, so you are you, but you were playing as someone else in the book. And that's when you actually play. And yeah, it's just like everything is pretty well thought out. It's very, very interesting stuff. Recently I was playing this series of quests where you're like tricked by this other sorcerer who seems to be all about money, which, you know, sorcerers are not supposed to be about. And he like tricks you into eating this fruit and then saying, okay, that was really expensive fruit and now you owe me a lot of money. So since you don't have it, you gotta come with me. We're gonna go around and kill monsters together and earn a lot of money for me.
That's really funny because like he's tricking you into becoming a indentured servant.
Is that? Yeah, basically. So you go around and you're doing this thing, and then finally you meet sort of the main target that you've been going after, and basically it's this giant golden slime thing. And in the world of Soul Sacrifice, all the monsters are actually regular things that have been sort of twisted by greed and things like that. So this particular monster is a guy who he had nothing, and he was offered a chance to have like lots of money and stuff, but you just like the title says, you have to sacrifice something to get something in Soul Sacrifice, and he had nothing, so he sacrificed his own body. And then he became this giant golden slime. And he's filled with like gold and jewels and stuff. But then, so he got what he wanted, but, you know, sort of twisted way. And he's a menace because the greed just like grows and grows. So it's never enough. So the slime will go around and absorb other people and things and turn them into gold and jewels and whatever inside of it, and just always wants more. So you go and you kill this thing, and then your companion who tricked you suddenly becomes not such a bad guy. He's like, okay, he says something to you that strikes you as strange. It's like, oh, if everyone in the world was rich, there'd be no monsters. And you're like, huh, okay, that's a weird thing for a greedy guy to say. And you go back to report to the guy, to the people who had contracted, or contracted you guys to go kill this monster. And it turns out it was the poor guy's family who had wanted this slime thing to be stopped. And you get back, and the greedy sorcerer is not greedy at all. He gives everything that you've collected up until that point to this family, and says, "Oh, your father's gonna be coming back." And you realize that he goes around collecting all this money so that he can give it to people, and it's sort of his way of ridding the world of monsters. And I was like, oh. I was just very struck by that story. It's like, wow, they totally had me going. I thought he was... It was funny, at one point, he got taken out by the monster, and every time your allies get knocked out, you have the choice of going over and reviving them at the cost of your own health, or you can sacrifice them. And when you sacrifice them, they do this giant spell, and it does a lot of damage or something like that. And when he went down, up to that point, I was like, well, I don't like you at all. So then I just ran over without hesitation. I just sacrificed him, and I beat that boss. I was like, yes! And he's gone, yes! And then the game was like, oh, you sacrificed whatever his name was. This greatly contradicts the contents of this journal, and so you won't be able to proceed in the story until this is rectified. And I'm like, aww.
So did you have to do it over?
Yes, I had to do that over.
That's interesting.
But it was it was neat, and then just having that twist there. I think the first sorcerer you play with in the demo that I think you can still download. She also seems like a very unpleasant person. I was just like, whatever, when the time comes, you will die like I'm supposed to do, and I will have no conflict of conscience whatsoever. And then it turns out she's just like a sad person. It was like, oh, now I don't know. Yeah, just the context of everything is really neat. And the game itself, it's okay. Yeah, I'm most riveted by what's going on rather than the actual playing of it.
It is cool that there was like an alternate King Midas story in there, though.
Yeah, that guy was also like the magic that people use. They become it mutilates their bodies or whatever. So that guy was like, he had a golden arm and golden half of his face. Neat stuff. Did I play anything else? Nope. I think that's pretty much it.
But yeah, that seems like highlight a lot of the reasons why I like JRPGs over, or like when I am drawn to them anyway, and I play them as opposed to like getting them and letting them sit in my backlog for years, like I've been doing lately. like when I enjoy an JRPG, it's like how it's just a fresh take on like a fantasy setting, as opposed to like, oh, let's have another Tolkien clone and orcs and elves and Fantasyland, woo, knights and magicians and elves, woo, just. And I still haven't played Dragon Age, so it's like, even though it's better, I'm like, I don't know, so. But Japanese games, it's always like some fun take on the fantasy and mysticism and technology and stuff.
Yes.
Alright, so I guess we'll come back after this with the Gran Turismo 6 and stuff. Tropical?
Yep.
So yeah, well, we're back after this with Gran Turismo 6 and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Supposed to respond?
I don't know.
Understood. Let's do it.
Alright, we're back. Second segment. Gran Turismo 6 was announced to add to an already crowded, really crazy, next-gen launch calendar that is just growing and growing and growing and crowding, and the launch window is about to break, and there's just not enough room. Because so much is coming out. It's like, but I want a PS4, but there's so much other stuff coming, and I don't have enough money. And yeah, this fall's gonna be crazy.
Well, okay, so let's go with that. What is the amount that you're gonna have by, was it December?
By December. Well, the thing is that, even though by December, if I keep saving, which I won't because I will have to buy them. Well, I guess that's a good point. I could just keep saving, and then I'd have a lot more saved up. Mm-hmm. But by December, according to my calculations, I think I have 720 saved up.
Okay.
Let me look at my thingy, my chart on Facebook. I keep putting up every month. Actually, I think it won't be at that because I'll actually buy Last of Us and GTA, so that's 120 taken away from that.
So still 600 though.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, by December 720.
Okay. So yeah, there's those, and then you're getting Beyond also.
Oh yeah, that too, man.
And then so that's only 3. Are you anticipating a lot of unanticipated games?
Well, Tropical, with the magicalness that is E3, I don't even know what's going to happen and what's going to be announced. So it's it could be from a couple, it could just be from Destiny, which is the only game I'm really looking forward to on PS4, because it's that's the only one, okay, for sure I'm getting that,
really?
Day one. It could balloon into, oh, look what else we got, or look what other games are cross-gen, or I have no idea what could happen, and I'm just crap, I'm it's and now I'm even considering, well, with Metro Last Light coming out, people would be well, on PC it looks amazing, consoles looks good, but not as good like they always do. It's well, I can always just double down and upgrade my PC since it's been sitting there and not being upgraded for the last 5 years. And I'll be all right, time for a new one, and it can look as good as PS4, and I can just wait and play all the other third-party games, and they'll look awesome anyway. I just want to have a share button, which I keep telling myself is the one thing that will make me buy it, because hey, it's way easier than going to Fraps and rendering it in Sony Vegas and all that time. Way easier.
Well, now, has Destiny been announced for PC?
Probably has. Let me see.
Can't remember.
But, yeah, that's the wrench that's thrown into my plans right now. Oh, yeah, also Gran Turismo 4, which is but that's after, well, that's also another game, because, I love me some Gran Turismo, so. It says PS3, PS4, and 360.
Okay. And I didn't think it had been. See, yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. It comes down to, do you want to play the games you want, or do you want to play the games that you can? Because with a new PC, I think that's what it comes down to for me, is the exclusives that I know are going to be exclusive are on PlayStation, and not on PC, and not on any of the other things that I could potentially buy. And then, so, from there, it's not I want the share button, and that's why I get a PS4. It's, I want to play these games, and it will be nice to have the share button as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I'm anxious to see what Microsoft has, since it's Sony first party is just killing it, I'm always saying, so it's I know I can just have stuff to look forward to, whereas 360, or whatever next 360 is called, Infinity or whatever, it's oh, well, it's still up in the air, yeah. But if they have awesome stuff on launch, it's oh, well. But then again, I'm kind of more, as I'm thinking about stuff and remembering stuff, it's well, let's think about the launch. There's one game that you have at launch, and it's you can play through it, And unless it's a game like Destiny that's just like, there's new stuff always coming, it's like you're gonna go through that and be like, well, what else is there to play? And like if I had a Wii U, I'd be like, right now I'd probably be like, well, what is there to play? Because there's a drought, like there always is with Nintendo consoles. So I learned my lesson with the Wii. I was like, I'm never doing that again, which I did not. So glad I did that. Whereas, PS4 and Next or Infinity, it's like, well, they have good third-party support, so it's like I'll get the stuff that. But then the cross gen is like weird because it's like it's also on PS3 and 360, so it's like I don't need to upgrade, so I could just sit on the sidelines and play Gran Turismo 5 or 6 and GTA 5 and The Last of Us and that other game. Beyond Two Souls. I'm sorry, David Cage. And Remember Me. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just save this one for after E3 once we actually know some more, and then figure out,
oh yeah,
what should Tekken do?
It's like, what is our next gen plot? Now that we have all the details and all the pieces are in place, what is Tekken plotting now? Yes,
exactly. But for now, yes, Gran Turismo 6 announced today. More cars, more tracks, what you would expect. Not expected is totally different engine, totally different. That goes for like graphics and physics. And apparently a lot of DLC. We don't know if it's paid or what, but was the announcement exciting for you? Just like because of the franchise, or was there something that you saw that made you excited for it?
It's funny because it was the wrench that like went into my plans. It's like I was like, oh yeah, but then I was like, wait a minute, this holiday, crap, no, that's terrible timing. But then I was like, well, it's Gran Turismo, don't delay it. They will, right? Like it's not like it wouldn't be like the one time they finally don't delay a Gran Turismo when they put it out. It's like, oh, let's just put that last hay stick on the hay bale to break Tekken's camel's back and just break him because he wouldn't have enough money to buy it because he's playing PS4 and no money. But I'm glad they're revamping all the online stuff because the online was pretty not awesome and it could be really better.
Yep.
And also, it looks like with the DLC thing, like it's looking like what we've always been talking with them to do is just, or what we would hope they would do is how they just have the game and just like keep putting out stuff. But if it's free, it's like I'm hoping it's free. Cause if it's not free, it's like I'm not sure I want to pay for that. So we'll wait and see on that.
A lot of money.
Yeah, it's like ugh. Because they already have like the not B-spec events, but the seasonal events that are like always cycling through, so you can just keep playing with your A-spec cards.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. It was not. I guess I expected to see more. Yeah, they talked a lot. It feels like Gran Turismo 6 is in a similar vein as Gran Turismo 4. I mean, Gran Turismo 3, everyone thought, oh wow, this is amazing because it's PS2 graphics and it looked amazing at the time. And Gran Turismo 4, it just, they improved upon lots of stuff and it became. Well, did they changed the format also, didn't they?
That's when they added B-spec mode, and you could just let your driver do the driving.
Well, I don't know. It feels like it's a refinement on Gran Turismo 5 rather than sort of something totally new, which I think is really cool, but it wasn't as exciting as I expected it would be.
Actually, I agree, because like I remember Gran Turismo 3 way more than I do 4, because I remember just like playing the crap out of 3, but then 4 I still played a ton of, but I don't have like as fond memories as I do of 3.
Nah.
Because I guess you're like what you're saying, it's just a refinement, and they did add some things, but it wasn't really, like a ton of new content. It was just refining what was already there and making it really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, which could do, wonders for the Metacritic score. I don't know how people will react, but the critics, they had lots of similar complaints about Gran Turismo 5. Like, oh, the interface is really, really bad, and online is really not good, and just, yeah, lots of the same stuff you heard over and over again in Gran Turismo 6. From what they've said, it sounds like, oh, we took all your feedback, and so now the load times are going to be shorter, and It's going to be way more cars, and online is going to be better. We're going to have like Drive Club, essentially, and just lots of stuff. UI improvements.
They also just like seem to be out of nowhere because like usually like they're gonna like hype it up a bit before it's like, oh, it's coming this holiday, so it's like that's kind of a giant bomb in the I was expecting that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, release date. That was the thing that I wanted to talk about. So you think this one's going to be delayed also?
I'm leaning towards yes, but I'm hoping no. Because I mean,
even though that's the huge wrench in your holiday.
Because the thing is, like when I went to like the official trailer on YouTube, it doesn't like have the release date on there, so I'm like, oh, but all the press outlets are like, coming this holiday, but it's like they didn't didn't in the trailers, no. And just Plethny Digital, and even though they probably see, that's the other thing is like I would think that like after all the stuff they've done with PSN, they could have some like base game that they can put out that you can like if you want to like download it off PSN, and then that like so it's probably like really close to like being or not right now, but like when it is like close to going gold, it's like they can just throw it out and like put it out and then like just like it's or just it seemed to me like with all the DLC stuff that was like announced, it just seemed like they were adopting all the like patch like style of we can just later on add this and add that and tinker with it here and not just have to like perfect it when it comes out and just keep delaying as it's like they've done before. It's like they've adopted like the new for better or worse style. We can just patch it later.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the fence. On the one hand, I feel like they can't delay this one simply because of the timing. I mean, if you don't release this PS3 game by the end of the... Yeah, it's like, when can you release the PS3 game again without becoming, it's like, well, that's last gen and nobody cares about it anymore. Or, maybe... it's weird, because I think PlayStation really is all about gamers, and gamers care about they don't just care about the game, they also care about what other people think about the game. They care about reviews and all this. They care about, the hype and all that. So if you release too far after the PS4 is out, it's hard to get that level of excitement, I think.
Especially with the whole, no backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
There's no way to play it on PS4.
And then, it's not like they could just say, well, we've waited too long, so we'll just scrap this one and do a PS4 version. Because I'm not sure, how much of it would carry over. And they basically have to start from scratch.
Yeah, that's another thing that like surprised me was like I wasn't sure if it was going to be for PS4 or PS3. So like when it came out as PS3, I was like that's really surprising because you have PS4 coming out, but they're like choosing to put it on PS3 even though it'd be a good game to get like an install base early on.
Mm-hmm. But well, I think it makes sense though. I mean, it's harder to sell a ton of copies early on.
Oh yeah, good
don't
point.
have a lot of consoles.
Yeah, like from like the reverse standpoint, it's like you'll sell more software because the install base is already there. So,
software is what really makes the money. Plus, I think one of the reasons that Gran Turismo 5 took so long, I think, is because they just had to make all the vehicles and stuff. I mean, because it doesn't look, when you've played through a lot of it, it doesn't feel like a game that took however many years it took to make.
Yeah, especially when you look at like the livery stuff that's in Forza that's not in this, and I was like, oh, I really wanted that. So I'm hoping like the added customization that they mentioned is like all that stuff that I'm always like, oh man, they're gonna have it, but they didn't have it this time. I was like, kind of let down. So that'd be awesome because I've always wanted to make an Aimless podcast car so I can drive it around and be like, haha, check us out.
That would be cool.
Or other Mass Effect related images on my car.
Yeah, so I think with this one, even though it's a new engine and stuff, they probably more of the car models and stuff just carry over, or it'd be easier because they've done part of that work already. Whereas with a PS4 version, I think you have to do a lot of that work over again.
Yeah, the assets are already there to just bring over and polish up and be like, haha, and we can add more because we have more experience with the hardware. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, they were talking about how this engine pushes the PS3 harder than what pushes it to the limit. So it's like, okay, so hopefully it will be better. But yeah, they didn't really talk about that. I mean, GT Planet, they sent their guy, and apparently the physics are much more realistic looking. And I actually got to play it there, so I guess...
Oh, well.
That one is like, well, we got to play Gran Turismo 5 Prologue 10 years before Gran Turismo 5 came out, so I don't think having it playable, even in July, which is when the demo is going to come out on PS3, but I don't know if that really says much about the eventual release date. Still, So, are you just excited because you're a fan of the franchise?
Yeah. And all the improvements, so, yay.
I'm really excited to see their, sort of integration with tablets and PCs and all that other stuff. Because that seems like, almost like a test bed for eventual PS4 type features, which is what they've been talking about a lot. It's just like this connected, what was it? The battle against reality. Essentially, it's talking about like your games are always with you, so you have no time to concentrate on the cars that may hit you when you're on the crosswalk.
Yeah, I don't really care about the you put something on your Facebook that made me think of something about like how I don't necessarily hate is the wrong word, but it made me like have all these like negative feelings about like handheld games in general, just because like let me try to find it, because you put something about and I was like I think it was like the Vita version. You're like, oh, well, Vita can do this, and I was like, just another example of you have mobile games and you have handheld games, but it's like on a console is like always where you can go to have that sit down and play this game be awesome, because all the resources are poured into it and it's been refined and that's what it was. I thought of a new term, whereas like whereas like people are like, oh, console peasants or whatever. I was like, well, handheld gamers are just like serfs who get like the below console game because theirs isn't even as good as ours. Like if you played some game on a handheld, it's not as good as ours, and we have way more awesome stuff. It doesn't matter if it's on a phone or a Vita or whatever, because it's like, oh, it's good, but it's not console level. So suck it, handheld serfs, because you're not going to get this game.
Oh, well, it was today with the Gran Turismo 6 thing?
Yeah, you put something about the Vita on your Twitter thing, and I thought, it was like, ding.
Well, it was weird, because earlier today, apparently I don't know where they're from, like some other sites, just they posted the Gran Turismo 6 press releases immediately after they received them, which they weren't supposed to do, because the press releases they talked about the Silverstone event in past tense, and it hadn't even happened yet. They were talking about, it's confirmed, Gran Turismo 6 for PS3 and Vita. And I saw that, and then I watched the actual event, and they didn't mention a Vita version. And then I thought about it, I was like, well, I guess it makes sense, because, Gran Turismo PSP, technically it was a really amazing achievement. The frame rate was really high, and they did have a ton of cars in the game. But on the other hand, it was... now, like, Vita versions are supposed to be exactly the same as their console counterparts, except, obviously reduced graphics and things like that. And even with those types of reductions, I don't think that you could make Gran Turismo 6, as they announced today, fit on the Vita. Just, there's not enough... I think games are only allowed to be 4 gigs. And there's not enough space in 4 gigs to put 1,200 cars. And
unless they made it 8-bit.
I guess you can make.
And they all look the same.
This one is a gray car, and this one is a gray car. But this one is
It's like,
a Lancer, and this one is a Civic.
yeah, you would only be able to tell from the names because they would all look the same. The only thing that would be different would be the colors of the cars. But there'd be a ton of them. Haha.
But yeah, like, I don't think they can do what they've done with, say, Sly Cooper. Sly Cooper looks pretty much the same on both consoles. PlayStation All-Stars, pretty much the same. Gran Turismo, I'm not sure you could do it. Maybe you could do it, but the concessions, it wouldn't be the same, I don't think. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
So yeah, on Facebook, Chaptical put, I suppose making a feature parity GT6 for Vita would be pretty hard, considering the vast difference in disc size availability. And that's when the lightning struck me, and I was like, wait a minute, Vita. And then from Vita, I was like, mobile games, macaroni and cheese games. And then I was like, wait a minute, score one for console gamers, haha. Then I was like, if console gamers are better than mobile gamers, that means they're under us, and we're peasants. What's under a peasant? A serf. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. And it was just, yeah, madness from there. I mean, until they have some sort of handheld or mobile device that you can put a projector in and project it onto a wall so you can actually have a decent sized screen to play your small screen handheld games on. Have fun with that. Your small screen. And you're not as big games. Serfs.
Mobile serfs.
That's always what bugs me is when I or when lately when I've been looking coverage for the Infinity and people are like, oh, it's the smart glass and you have an Android device or your tablet. I was like, okay, I don't have this money, so unless it comes with my console, please. Okay, I guess not stop developing for this stuff, but just stop bringing it up because that just makes me more angry because the features that are there are just so far not awesome, and it's it just keeps getting to me, just the whole years and years of games on phones are so awesome and taking over, and people are buying them, but they're 99 cents, so of course they are, because they're cheaper. Why would you buy a game for $1 when you could, or for $60 you can get it for $1? I'm just gonna let it go for now because I don't want to get off topic. But yeah, it brought up all my always fresh wounds of the whole, oh, look at all these mobile games for $1. They sell so much better than console games.
Actually, no, I'm going to stroll with you on this one, getting off topic, because I just realized that mobile, smartphones and tablets are super expensive. I mean, think about, you can get a pretty decent gaming PC now for $500 or $600, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the same amount, you can get a smartphone. And I was like, that is insane! On your PC, you can do everything, and you can play, things like Battlefield 3, or you could play Borderlands 2, just, tons of stuff. And for the same cost, you can play Angry Birds, which, okay, the game is free, but you also paid $600-700 for your smartphone. Maybe not all at once. A lot of people are doing I'll pay $200 now and then pay $50 a month for the next 2 years.
Speaking of that, people are like, oh, DRM. I mean, okay, if you have a phone that you are paid monthly for, via a contract, you do not own that phone, you are just leasing it. So therefore, you have those games are for $1, but it's slowly but surely, the long burn, very, very slow long burn of price for that probably outmatches whatever you'd pay for a decent console.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, I was looking at just TVs, and I was like, wow, I can now get a 60-inch LED TV for less than, a Samsung Galaxy S4. It was like, that is crazy. I mean, how did we get to this state where we suddenly are okay with paying these prices? Or it didn't happen suddenly. It's somehow we're always okay with paying $600 for a smartphone.
Well, I'd just like to say I've always been, speaking out about this. So, I was never on that train. That train was always trying to ram me, and I was like, no way, jumping out of the way.
I never noticed. I mean, once you have it, it's okay, it is kind of cool, but are we sure about these prices? Are they actually this much? I mean, when you think about it, like from my point of view, thinking about their point of view, so me thinking that they're thinking, a smartphone is like, oh, well, it has a screen, so it's like a TV, so there's that, and it computes, so it's a computer, so there's that, and there's games, so there's that, so we can charge more for this thing than all of those other things combined.
I also think it has it has to do with just like being competitive with Apple. It's like we put out a product that is similar to what it does, and we can charge almost as much, but not, and then make that money.
Man,
and let it just pour in.
Apple pricing is the biggest scam, then, and somehow it worked.
Everybody adopted that model of
it's like
we can
it's the classic pretty face thing. It's like, look how beautiful it is. You will pay whatever we tell you.
Have you gotten your Ouya yet, or any word on it, Tropical?
No, I have not.
Oh, darn.
Well, I've gotten word like every month, or sorry, every Friday they will send a Kickstarter update out. And apparently within the next 2 weeks, well, last Friday they said within the next 2 weeks, all of the limited edition ones will be out. And I was like, okay, so... Actually, they didn't say that. They said in the next 2 weeks, all of them will be manufactured and then ready to ship. So it could be longer than 2 weeks.
So I was gonna ask, like, do you think that, like, I guess I'll call those non-traditional consoles, since they will play games, but, like, of a different nature. Do you think, like, they could have a migration of users that are been playing the Macaroni and Cheese games onto them, since it's, like, the same pricing structure and, like, same quality titles, but it's, like, the price of the hardware is, like, way lower, so the barrier to entry is, like way lower, so it's like, oh, it's like the Wii, well, not really the Wii all over, but kind of, because the pricing and the, like, same audience maybe, they're just like, oh, well, I can play this on my TV now, so woo!
I actually don't think so. I think the non-traditional consoles are about to die right in their infancy, which is kind of sad, but I don't think there's any way around it, and there's two reasons. One, like, with PlayStation's focus on indies, like, why wouldn't you want to develop for PlayStation versus developing for just hundreds and hundreds of different non-traditional consoles? I mean, it's just a lot easier to develop for a set hardware. I mean, even with Ouya,
don't they have, like, Unity tools as well, so they can, like, have the same games?
Yeah, exactly.
On PS4, yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of feel like, yeah, they'll probably put it. And Unity is super popular, so if people are using Unity, they're gonna release on everything as much as they can, or what was I saying? They're gonna release on multi-platforms, but then with PubFund and things like that, there are reasons to be exclusive to PlayStation. But I just think that with PlayStation's focus on that, clearly Microsoft has to follow. And then Nintendo has to follow too. So suddenly the consoles, it's not going to be this like, oh, we're these closed platforms, and since indies can't get on closed platforms because it costs so much, that's why we develop for these open platforms. Suddenly it's like, oh, it's all level ground, and then you just sort of develop for everything that you care to. So that sort of means trouble for Ouya. And, I'm just using the Ouya name, but just like all of them.
GameStick.
Yeah. Because, suddenly it's like, it's not as attractive to develop for Ouya because, more people are probably going to buy PlayStations because just the brand name. So the hardware has better brand name. And so you have a larger potential audience there. The other thing is, I don't think the casual people, even care about games. I think casual people, they didn't buy those games because they wanted them. They bought the phones because they wanted them. And they got the games because
their phones could play them.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I'm bored right now in line, or I'm bored here, or my friend told me about this thing, and hey, it's free, and I already have the phone. And that's why they play them. Like they don't consider games to be a worthwhile use of their time. Like games are just time killers for most of them. So, why would they buy a console, even a non-traditional console, that has, all the same pricing structure, but it only plays games? Why would they buy that thing? Like they don't want it. They want the phone, and the games are just sort of a bonus.
So it's your tactical. I completely agree.
So, yeah, I think they're kind of... unless they can come up with some really awesome exclusives. Like, right now I think Ouya is just fighting time. They're running out of time. If they can get something really awesome before PlayStation and Xbox and everyone capitalizes on the indie revolution that has happened, then, maybe they have a shot and they can build that Ouya name, and then they can... people will buy Ouyas because they're cheap and they have good games. Or they have the same games that the other more expensive consoles have. But, yeah, that's pretty tough. So we'll see. I mean, does Ouya have E3 presence? I don't think so.
I wonder what was like the big shift of, or like the big like paradigm shift of like, I guess Sony. Well, we'll have to like wait to see if like Microsoft is the same as Sony, but like just like the whole like welcoming of indies to like have their games on their platform.
Well, for Sony, from what I've read, is they just realized that they need this basically. Eventually, there's only going to be a few places making the AAA games.
Oh yeah. It didn't in the recent earnings report, wasn't like Square Enix saying that was like their major reason of like why they didn't make money.
They're like
they said
Western console market is becoming an oligarch.
Yeah, they said some weird giant word. I was like, what is that? I had to look it up on Wikipedia. And it was like when a small amount of things are making stuff for consumers. I was like, I see what they're saying.
Only a few players, and everyone else has a hard time. So yeah, it's going to be EA, Activision, and Ubisoft, and no one else.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, there's 2K.
No, that's right. But still, they're
they've basically
releasing a ton of games every year.
The land of publishers has been eroded.
THQ, we barely knew thee. So yeah, like they need indie games to sort of fill in the gaps, or oftentimes, now, just even because for totally selfish reasons, PlayStation makes money off of everyone else's software. So if for example, if Minecraft had been a PlayStation exclusive game, they would have made tons and tons of money because every copy of Minecraft that sold, which was an insane number of them, they would have made a little percentage of that.
Yeah, I guess that the success of Minecraft, sorry, the success of Minecraft on 360 goes to show like how like the core gamer as opposed to like the casual gamer has like knowledge of what's hip and out there that's like worth checking out, because that game was just like so big when it came to 360. Like my coworkers that I worked with just would not shut up about like how every night they'd go in and play Minecraft with each other and build their levels and blah blah blah. But here we are months later and they don't play it anymore. So I'm like, haha, fuck it. Yeah, it's like Minecraft was really, really awesome back in the day, but I'm still playing Mass Effect and you're not playing Minecraft, so I win. Ha.
Just more dedicated. Still, I think the paradigm shift is like they realize, oh my gosh, there's lots of games that are selling a ton of copies out there, and they're not on our platform, which means we are not making a cut of any of that. And that is not acceptable. Or if we want to be profitable, we need to, get these games. And it's just like easy money. When they make a hit, we didn't have to do anything. They made the game. We just own the platform.
And there's also been like the whole like genre fatigue and like the same old of this looks like a clone of this, which looks like a clone of this. But like when you bring in the indies, it's just like you have all these refreshing new ideas. They're just like, oh, that's so cool. Like you have Braid or Bastion or all the games or Minecraft or just games that are just so different from what's out there. It's like, oh, refreshing to like not what's that word? Flood the market with just a bunch of crap that's exactly the same. It's like, oh, let's shoot dudes in the face because that's what we do in every other game. Oh.
Pretty much.
So the paradigm shift saved the industry. Thank you, indie developers, for saving the industry.
Huzzah!
Because without you, man, it would be depressing right now.
It would definitely not be as exciting. It's pretty crazy. I mean, half of the games that have been announced for PS4 are indie games. There was a War Thunder just announced yesterday, which is a World War II MMO, apparently.
Huh.
Primal Carnage Genesis, which is the story mode of the game where you run around in first person and fight dinosaurs.
I would like, before we continue, I just want to say, I want, like, even though there was a Turok reboot, I'd like a re-reboot, just to, like, have it not suck, because I forgot what Gamer said about it, but, I mean, first-person dinosaurs, like, how can that not be awesome? Or maybe, like, some spin-off where you play as a dinosaur, and you go around and eat people or something.
There is that in the multiplayer version of Primal Carnage, which is available now on PC. It looks pretty cool.
I just thought it's like something like how Chivalry is just like running around with melee weapons. If there's just like some game where it was like all dino focused multiplayer, or some like weird like fantasy monster enemies like fighting each other without weapons. I have fire breath. I have thunder eyes, or something weird like that. That'd be fun.
War of the Monsters. I just realized that Spies versus Mercs is Aliens versus Predator. When you play as like aliens, you play third person, just like when you play the Spies, and the Mercs are just first person shooter, which is, well, Predator isn't, but like when you're playing as Marines, it's just a first person shooter. And yeah, as aliens, you're supposed to sneak around and pounce on your prey. It's like, oh, I don't know that Spies versus Mercs was the first asymmetrical competitive action game like that.
It's funny because I saw that trailer, and like when it was 2v2, I was like, oh, it's just, more of the same, like what it was before. But then it was like 4v4, I was like, ooh, I want to play that. Like, I actually, for like the first time in a long time, was like, I want to play a PvP multiplayer mode. Just to, like, and I was like, only play Spy though. It's like, I will only play Spy in that game, just to like be with my team of ninjas as we like go and take down these mercs. I was like, oh man, because I remember playing like the Chaos Theory with like Dagger and some other Gap people, and it was really fun.
Blacklist.
Now that it's back, I was like, ooh, Blacklist, I might have to put that on my list too and take away from my PS4 funds, but whatever.
Wow, it's getting... I can see how it's getting tough. I mean, mine was already really tough, because like, when PS4 comes out, there's just so many games I'm interested in. It's like, oh man, this is bad.
Like, since the summer's coming, maybe I should just get a second summer job and get even more money saved up. And just not play anything and just let the backlog grow. But I'd be able to buy it all.
Smooch on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, where are we? We wandered off the path.
We're talking about indie games, and then we're talking about Oh, you're making a point about something about indie games, and then I interrupted you, and then... Oh, you were talking about, like, the 4 indie games on PS4 that were the Primal one and the World War II MMO. It was... One was one of the other ones the Witness?
Yep, that was one of them.
That's what I'm interested in.
It does look neat, although I have no idea what it's about yet. The idea behind it is really cool.
For me, I'm just excited because, like, I really loved Braid, so to see him finally make another game, I was like, okay, I'll check it out. Even if it is, like, not my genre of expertise where I get stuck in puzzles, but whatever.
I can't remember the last one, but they've announced a ton of indie games for PS4, which is pretty crazy. But no, we weren't even going down this way. We were talking about Gran Turismo 6. Way back on the main path. Although I guess there's not much to say. I mean, we know barely anything about it except that it has more stuff and that it's been improved. And they're going to talk about it more in the next 6 months, which is E3 and I think Gamescom is in August? Sometime. So, yeah. I guess we were done with that. We know why you're excited. We know why I'm excited. I don't know. I'm just... I guess we could touch upon the thing that only you replied to. Fanboys do not have more fun?
Did I say that?
Yes.
Oh, well, basically, my reasoning was because, fanboys are just like, they're always wanting to stick it to the other fanboys. So it's like, they're blinding themselves with the fun they could be having playing those games. So, of course, they don't have as much fun as the non-fanboys, because the non-fanboys are like, oh, I'm going to play that, and that, and that. And it's like, I'm going to play all this. And, like, fanboys just blind themselves with, only going to play this. And this is so much better than everything else. And I'm going to see all this other stuff that's negative about all those other games, even though I don't play them because I'm a fanboy. So it's like, well, dude, you're being blinded by the dark side. While I, with the light side powers, I'm just like taking my force powers and just absorbing it from all the nature around me and all the games I play, and it's so much funner than being a fanboy.
See, I think it's actually true though, because as you were saying, yeah, they love the games that they love. And so it's like, do you think? I think like
fun, they don't know what they're missing. It's like ignorance is bliss.
Well, it's not necessarily that. It's like, fun comes from within, in a sense. So when they're playing those games, they love them more than, say, the person who's playing everything and only sort of liking every game.
Yeah, but I would say...
Like, you only played Mass Effect last year, is what I remember. And...
Oh man, that was a great year, 2012. ME3, never forget.
It's like you had way more fun with that one game than I think I had with all of the games that I played in 2012. So yeah, I guess it depends on what you think a fanboy is, and then is it like the perception of fun from that person's point of view, or is it the, if you can measure it, sort of quantity of fun that they could be having?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, on a quantitative level, the fanboy would lose every time, because they're just, they're probably going to play less, as opposed to the person that's playing everything else. That's not just the one thing to rule them all.
Yeah, I've been considering it, now that it's the end of the console cycle, and it's like, well... in order to save money so that I can get on the next gen, yes, there are probably going to be good games on the 360, but I just don't care. Or I'm not going to care. And, I'm just going to play PlayStation 3 games. And, I went further, I was like, I'm only going to play, sort of exclusive games. Star Trek was a mistake.
Star Trek made me remember why. I chose to go down this path.
So it's just like, when I'm playing, say, what's something that got mediocre reviews recently?
Ew.
That is exclusive. Oh, Soul Sacrifice, for example. That got mediocre reviews, but as someone who is just totally into everything that PlayStation is doing right now, I'm actually really enjoying it. And it's like, is this a viable strategy? Do I care about quantity of fun, or do I care about the amount of fun that I am experiencing inside me that I can't convince anyone else of, but, I know it, and that's enough.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, one of my coworkers is, like, total, way more Nintendo fanboy on, like, a level that I'm not. And, like, all I can think about whenever I talk to him about games is, like, dude, you're so missing out on anything else that's not on the Wii U. It's like, you're missing out, dude. Sorry.
Wow, I guess I could see that too. So maybe You have to be a smart fanboy. You gotta pick the right one. Because, yeah, like, if I picked Wii U and I was just gonna fanboy that, I would be missing out on so much stuff. The other me would be like, you're missing out on so much stuff.
It's like, enjoy your games from last year and beyond that are just coming out. And enjoy missing the new games that are not getting ported or brought to that console. Yeah.
Exactly.
I completely forgot about that question until you brought it up. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, it was sad. So we got, I guess lots of people want to talk about Nintendo failing, but no one wants to talk about other stuff. So that was an interesting experiment. We will continue to experiment on our Facebook page because it's fun. Oh, apparently also a lot of people wanted to read about Call of Duty being revealed at the Xbox event for some reason. Even though I didn't write anything. I just said it's going to be shown at the Xbox event. And somehow, like, that post got a ton of views. Like, why? I guess it's Call of Duty.
Well, Activision has, like, so much space that they're taking up from everybody else now with all the money that they're making that everybody's not, ... They're siphoning from everybody else's profits. And that's their big gun, literally.
I think we're going to hit a point where people are going to stop making multiplayer modes just for the heck of it, because they'll realize that it doesn't, it's not going to matter. People don't have the time to play Call of Duty and one other game and then something else. They can only play Call of Duty or Call of Duty and one other game. So if you're going to be the third place multiplayer experience, no one's playing you.
Yeah, there was some list somewhere that came out with, like, all the games that profited the most this console generation on Gamma Sutra, but I can't find it right now. So.
I know that Call of Duty was number 1. Mario was number 2. I think
I saw Guitar Hero on there. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was.
That was crazy, because, like, it had been gone so long. It still made so much money, and I was like, holy... But then they counted hardware, so I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
And all those plastic instruments that are no longer in use collecting dust somewhere or in landfills, pour one out. That's all I gotta say.
Well, the other thing, there was so many of them. I mean, there was everything from Guitar Hero 3 onward, and they were on every platform.
And then they got crazier. It's like, we're gonna have one every quarter. It's like, what the F, Activision? It's like, how much do you want to push this before it pushes back? And then it did, and they're like, oh, we gotta put it on stasis.
Yep.
And we haven't seen it since.
Yeah, I think the most amazing thing about that list was Wii Fit being on there. I think it was 4th, and there were only 2 Wii Fit titles. And yeah, they counted hardware sales, but still, Wii Fit sold way lots of copies. I mean, when you look at the rest of them, it's like, well, there was 2 Halo games. No, sorry, there were 4 Halo games on the 360. There was everything since Call of Duty 2 in the Call of Duty franchise was this generation. I think, was Gears of War on there?
No, it's not. Gears of War is not on here. Yeah, I just put a link in the chat.
Okay. I can see it then. Or maybe I can't.
Wow, Assassin's Creed number 5. It just goes to show that Ubisoft's plan of really, it's like right under Call of Duty. It's like, Activision caught on. It's like Ubisoft was like, you know what? Let's just have this be our Call of Duty. Open world assassins.
It's like Wii Fit being on there is crazy. Actually, Grand Theft Auto being on there is pretty impressive because there was only one. There's only been one Grand Theft Auto in the current generation. Elder Scrolls, there was 2. Yeah, that's pretty good. Sonic being on there is kind of crazy. Although
it's funny because like Mario and Sonic are like both on there, but at like opposite ends. It's like Sonic's still hanging on. I'm still in the game.
Battlefield. Well, there was several Battlefield titles. Need for Speed was the same. The Sims was the same. Madden, of course. But yeah, well, I guess Assassin's Creed at number 5, that's pretty impressive. Even though, Assassin's Creed was born in this generation, and so, yeah, any that they sold would have been in that count.
And haven't they sold, like, more every time they put one out?
Yeah.
And the first one, like, broke some sort of record, and, like, ever since then, it's like, we sold more and more and more. And they just keep coming.
That amazes me. There was an interview recently where they talked about Assassin's Creed 1 saying, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that we wanted to do, but it just wasn't in there. So 2 was the one that, basically, yeah, they said what I've been saying for years. 2 was the game that 1 was supposed to be. Which is the same thing that they're saying about Blacklist, actually. Blacklist is the game that Conviction was supposed to be.
Oh. Yeah, I remember for a time they were putting out Splinter Cells pretty fast there before they cooled it down.
Yep. There's, like, Ghost Recon's not on here. Although, it's only been...
Actually, it's interesting if you think about it, because at 17 is World of Warcraft, so everything above that made more than World of Warcraft. So it's like, wow, all these games made a lot of money, because World of Warcraft is like millions of dollars every month from subscription fees.
Wow, yeah, that is insane.
And even though there's a lot of EA on here, Riccatello got let go. Sorry, dude.
So sad. Oh, speaking of EA, I guess we can do a little news. They are not going to do Online Pass anymore. Because, I guess it wasn't working out. So that's interesting. How could it not be working out? Maybe people just weren't buying used EA games anymore? No, that's what they wanted. I don't know. That's insane.
I don't know either. Still not sure how I feel about online passes. It's like you're getting it's like a roulette or a like mystery prize. So you don't know what it's gonna be. It could be awesome. It could not. So it's like, or I guess what I thought about when I thought about Borderlands 2, and it's like basically, it's like as long as there is a steady stream of it on a regular basis, but it's like you never know when you're signing up for one what you're gonna get. So it's like I can't really. Unless the developer's like really upfront about like what it's going to be, like they were with Borderlands, where it's like there's going to be 4 of them, and the last one will be put out in whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. So we get like the 1018s, I think is the last one. So
yep.
That was pretty good on their part for what they put out so far, even though I haven't played through any of it.
Me too. That's kind of sad. We were so pumped for that game. Now, like, the Psycho Pack just came out. I was like, I kind of want to play as a Psycho, because it was fun playing as Brick. And the Psycho is like Brick, but spits fire. Throws dynamite. Yeah, that's cool. Well, yeah, we had a topic, and we sort of talked about it, and then we went on. Because that's what we do. And trust me, we could do this for a long time more, but I don't think you want to listen. So, we should sign out.
Yes, we should.
Let's do it. Thank you for listening. Check us out on Facebook, aimlesspodcast.com. YouTube is becoming a thing for us, so yay! I've been wondering if we should go to the new YouTube layout, but then I have to make graphics and stuff. So we're thinking about it. Or I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Alright, and, F the haters, don't be a fanboy, but if you do, don't be a jerky one. And, Deus Ex, still awesome. Oh, also, handheld gamers, you're below us, console gamers. Until the end of time. At least we're better than somebody. Yes! Suck it, serfs. But, Till next episode. Goodbye like a Kroger and run like a leopard. But never be better than Commander Shepard. And just like Optimus Prime, I may be black on the outside, but I'm Autobot on the inside. Until next week, we're going to roll out, transform, and roll out until you hear from us again. Aimless Podcast, and we're now signing off.